Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us for this 2020 65th anniversary banquet of Evangel Home of Fresno. I'm Jim Tuck. I host the radio program Heartline. With me right now is Kaylin Roberts. Kaylin is the president of the board of directors of Evangel Home. And it's different this year, isn't it? For those of you who've been to our banquets, it's different for you and it's different for us. But I think we'll have some fun. And we're going to tell the story of what God's been doing through the ministry of Evangel Home from a thematic perspective. We're going to see some videos, and I'll tell you more about it as time goes on. Is that me? Is that better? All right. First of all, I want to give some special shout-outs, some thank yous to some people who deserve acknowledgement. We are just pleased to acknowledge. Before I go there, I got to say, there may be those who don't know about Evangel Homes. You just came along tonight, and here we are. Evangel Home is a Christian shelter for homeless women and their children. And they've been doing this ministry for, like I said, 65 years by God's grace. But we want to say thank you to our board, Kaylin and the rest. You guys make it happen. We want to say thank you to our staff, those amazing women at the home that minister to the women on a daily basis, 24 hours a day. We want to say thank you to our volunteers, without whom this would be so much more difficult. And also our residents. Ladies, we trust you're tuned in. We love you. And we've got a whole city and state and who knows full of people tuned in tonight because they love you. They're concerned about you, and we're glad to acknowledge you as well. Additionally, I want to say thank you to our friends at First Presbyterian Church. We're in their sanctuary. They've made that available to us, and they even provided some guys, some tech crew tonight. Chris, Alan, Ryan, Damian, thank you guys so much. Our friend George Temple put together all the videos you're going to see tonight. We are so grateful for that. And tonight, there's something that's never happened before, Kaylin, because we are live. People can ask questions during the event, they can comment, and you are going to respond.
I am going to respond. So we have a fun game that we play at our board meetings, which is called Stump the Director. Now, since the director is going to have some things going on this evening, we're going to play Stump the President of the Board. Now, that won't be as hard to do as it would be to stump Sarah, but I'm open for your comments. I'll be back there chatting in just a little bit, so time in.
Okay, so it's just go to the chat box and make their comments, and
Yes.
You're going to reply.
Yes.
And by the way, that will even continue on after the main program has closed out. If you want to stay on and chat, Kaylin will be available, and you can do that at the end of the evening as well. Let me just give you a heads up. Here's a brief intro of what you can expect in tonight's program. We are going to be hearing testimonies from some of our women, and it's so exciting, just heartwarming. We're going to introduce our Volunteer of the Year. We do that every year. Special people are volunteers. Maybe you've heard about Evangel Home, and you have wondered what the place looks like. Stick around. We're going to take a tour. We've got Jessica Lusk, our volunteer coordinator, and I'm going to jump in with her in a video, and we're going to walk around the facilities and show you what the place looks like. And then Sarah Dawson, our director of all things Evangel Home, is going to come in a while and present an opportunity to share, to make some improvements, to upgrade physically some things at the home that will make the ministry better. Why don't you open us with prayer, Kaylin?
I would love to. Thank you, Jim. So as I prayed over this banquet, over both the 65-year anniversary and 2020 as the year in general, I felt particularly drawn to Psalm 145. So I wrote a little psalm based on Psalm 145 for Evangel Home this evening. Great is the Lord, and most worthy of praise. His greatness none can fathom. The generation before commends his works to this generation, and we to the next, proclaiming God's mighty acts for 65 years and beyond. God, the women of Evangel Home tell the power of your awesome works and proclaim your great deeds in their lives. Together tonight, we celebrate your abundant goodness and joyfully proclaim your righteousness. You have been so gracious and shown such compassion to Evangel Home, and we thank you for your provision. Thank you for everyone here with us tonight, and bless this time as we gather. It's in your name and for your glory that we pray. Amen.
And amen. Thank you. Next, I'm going to ask Sarah Dawson to come up, and we have a theme this year, Sarah, And I'm not going to be the spoiler. I'm going to let you talk about the theme from start to finish, all right?
That sounds awesome. I just want to say thank you to all of you who are joining us tonight. It is such a pleasure, and I'm just so excited to be here and be able to do this tonight. So 65 years. Well, first of all, Evangel Home is a place where Christ leads, people care, and lives change. And one of the things that is very, very important to us is that we want our home to be a place where people can belong, where they can be loved, and they can be safe. So in 65 years, when I was thinking about that, it was just something like 65 years is the time people generally retire. We are not going to retire, but we are. It is a phase. Yes, no, we are not retiring at all. But it is a phase of life change, and when you go through a phase of life change, there's a lot of turmoil, and there's a lot of loss, and there's things that you have to leave behind. But there's also an excitement for the future, and so that's what I just felt like God was leading. Even in the beginning of this year, before all this COVID happened, He's like, "This is a phase of life change, and you be ready for this." And so we're getting ready, and it's been hard and it's been difficult, just like I think pretty much everybody else, but I know He is doing great things, and there's lives that are still changing, which is awesome. So 65 years, the celebratory gem for 65 years is the sapphire, which is our theme this year. Sapphires, the precious in the sight of God. So sapphires in their natural state, they tend to be rugged, they're jagged. They just look like a rock, exactly. It's like nothing to be quite noticed. But once somebody recognizes its value and they polish it up and they refine it and they chip away at it, it becomes this beautiful and valuable and precious item that is durable and it lasts. And I think that's exactly what the women of Evangel Home are. They come in where they're a little rough around the edges, a little jagged at times, but as they continue on, they just become, in God's sight, just this precious and valuable gem that lasts. And it's just so exciting to me how awesome it is.
Yeah, I think that's a great picture. When you've been at it a long time, I've seen a lot of the women come through there over the years, and that's such a great picture. Yeah. They come in various states, but if they stay through the program, they are different people. Yeah. They are different people because of the training and the shaping of God through the training process. Yeah. We've got some sapphire stories on video.
We do, yes.
Right? Let's watch this video.
This represents my brain before coming to Evangel Home, not knowing what I was going to do. And this represents my mind now, since I'm clear-minded and know what I'm doing, kind of.
Represents substance. It's depression, it's alcohol, it's drugs, it's pills. Everything before my life was not stable. It's a receipt of savings that I never have been able to do in years. Thank you, Jesus.
That's me before the Evangel Home. Scarred, broken, lumpy. Now that I've been here working with Christ on myself, I have become this.
Before coming to Evangel Home, my life was filled with chaos. I just felt like that's what I'd always want. I was never winning. I was always worried. I found out that he knew my name.
Example of so many lives changed dramatically for so many years as God gets a hold of people, these women, through the ministry of the staff, by the provision of the donors to Evangel Home, and lives are changed. It's the ripple in the pond. The generations change because that pebble drops. That impacts the lives in their family, their circle of friends, and then it's a generational change, and it's just nothing quite supersedes that. Well, I said we're going to take a tour of the home, but before I do that, I forgot to mention we would love to see the pictures of your banqueting. So take a picture of what you're doing at home and email it to us at evh@evangelhome.org. evh@evangelhome.org. We want to see your pictures. and then maybe put them in the newsletter next month or something. But we would love to have you do that. I promised you a tour. Jessica Lusk, our volunteer coordinator, invited me to go along, and we had George on a camera, and we went through the facilities at Evangel Home. Let's watch this video now. Well, hi, Jessica.
Hi, Jim. Welcome to Evangel Home.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to this.
This is Pauline Baker Myers. She is the founder of Evangel Home, and boy, what a story it is. And the ladies below her are former directors, all amazing women. Well, in 1954, Pauline and her husband, George, were volunteering at the Fresno Rescue Mission. And she began to notice a pattern that once dinner and services were completed for the evening and finished, the men were given a room and a bed, and the women and children were ushered out the door. And she had the nerve to ask, what about the women and children? Well, at the time, there was nothing like Evangel Home in existence in the Central Valley, and that's when the vision started. And she started wrestling with the Lord. And you know what happens when you wrestle with the Lord? And you say, God, you need to do something. He says, yeah, come on, let's go. And so in January of 1955, Evangel Home opened its doors. And the very first client was a homeless woman who happened to be alcoholic. And this is our Hall of Faith. Every name that is on these walls represents a woman who has graduated from one of our programs. This is one of 4 family rooms that we have for women with children. And when the women come here, we want them to feel safe. We want them to feel loved. We want them to feel like they matter. And when you are surrounded by pretty things, you feel that. Isn't this amazing? This is our daycare. And this is open to any of the ladies in the programs. Our daycare director, Tanisha, is amazing. And she works with the kids with reading and math and does story time with them. And it's just, this is a fantastic place. If I had to go to a daycare, I would want to come here.
Wow. Jessica, this is awesome.
Isn't this beautiful? So this is one of the apartments. And this is a part of our Crossroads program. It's a 9-month graduate program, and they take classes that range from parenting, grief counseling, money management, health, cooking. So this is really what it is a transitional living program. And the women who live here, they work hard. Yeah. Sometimes they cry, sometimes they get angry, because it is a lot of hard work.
Now tell me what happens in here. I mean, it's a beautiful room.
It is a beautiful room. This is a part of our counseling center. Okay. It didn't start off beautiful. Actually, it used to be the neighborhood crack house, believe it or not, and it became the counseling center. So what happens here? There's a whole lot that happens here.
Life change.
Life-changing.
Yeah.
Hard work happens here. And the counselors that we have here are phenomenal. First of all, they love the Lord.
Okay.
And second of all, they love the women and they love their children. And so this is a place of healing. And we're going to get to the root of why you act the way you act, why you think the way you think. And in the process of that, God has his hand here, and he slowly begins to put their lives back together and help these women and their families understand how to be a happy, healthy family. This is the Learning Center.
Okay.
So as you can imagine by the name, a lot of learning happens in here. The women who are in our programs, they come here for their classes. Everything from Parenting 101, they have their discipleship classes. This is where that happens. We have a computer lab. We have all of our staff meetings in here. We have our board meetings in here. So everyone is learning something at some point in time when they're in this building.
Wow. Yeah, I can see how that could go on.
Thank you for joining me, and thank you for coming on the tour with me.
We are here with Martha. She started at Crisis Home about 1.5 years ago, and through her journey she ended up at the garden program for 9 months, graduated from there, moved over to our community connection. And I think part of her story that I think is the most incredible is that she made some choices while she was in community connection that caused her life to kind of spiral downward. And she didn't give up and she didn't quit, but she stayed with it. Martha, some of the really amazing things about your story are probably the most difficult. I think the part about your family, I know you mentioned you have a family and you had walked away at one point. What did that do to your family and what did that do to you when you walked away?
Hard. Crushed us. That was the worst decision that I have made. And in that moment, as I was walking away, I remember just feeling crushed and damaged as I was doing it. It started my path of destruction for sure. And that moment in time changed my children forever. And we had that battle, which, you know, damages the souls of the little kids, the children, and the parents. I mean, it's not an easy process, for sure, as we know. For all of us that's been through it, it hurts, it damages. And I got to where I couldn't handle it, and I had a mental break, and I walked, and I kept walking.
It's just like that spiral that just kind of goes down and down and down. And you think these things that my kids don't love me, my husband didn't love me, God doesn't love me, I don't love me, and then it just keeps going and going until
Absolutely.
You destroy yourself.
Yes. Until anything and everything good, including God's love, you don't think you deserve. Why me? Why? I don't love myself enough to even have a happy thought.
That's incredible that you made a choice to come somewhere that could help you. What did it make you get to that point where you thought, okay, maybe?
That okay, maybe, that glimmer of, dare I even say, hope. It was probably my curiosity. What if there was something on the other side of hope? You know, like on the other side of an island, you're curious and you go on the other side of the island. What if there was something on the other side for me? What if? So that what if has led me here.
Then when you got here, I got to see part of your story where you got to see your kids again. Tell us about that.
Oh my gosh.
How'd that happen?
So their father, and to protect them, of course, was very cautious, which I respect. And he was, I'm sure, curious on what was going on. We both, he was curious on what Evangel Home was and the program here, so he did a little bit of research and was curious on what I was up to, for sure. And felt this was a really good program and a good place for me. And so after I did some time and some work here, you earn visits and you earn, you get to have a day out. So he surprised me with a visit with the kids, and you could have knocked me out because they look like themselves, just like somebody stretched them. Yeah. And they give me big old hugs. And they were beautiful.
It was a special moment. So let's fast forward. You graduated the program, you've learned a ton, you get accepted into Community Connection.
Right.
You started going back to school.
I did.
Tell me what happened then.
Oh, that's when things get serious, is after program. I thought the program, 9 months, garden, I thought that was tough. The real work began when you graduated. Life, choices, freedom, and you do it sober-minded. You're supposed to do it sober-minded. That's no alcohol, no drugs, whatever you use to mess up your life. Myself, you do it without all that.
I think that's, to me, is the most incredible part of your story, because I think each of us goes through that kind of thing in life where we have setbacks, where we walk back and you have to make a decision. Am I going to continue that spiral that you did before? Or are you going to continue on and say, I'm going to humble myself before the Lord and get my relationship right with Him? And that is what you did. So many hurts and so many pains, but you continued on and you didn't give up. And you humbled yourself with pride, and that's not an easy thing to do.
What made the change for me is when I started praying for strength said, God, give me strength. Let me lean into you and give me wisdom. And that's when it changed for me, when I knew that we all have a purpose. And it's not just somebody up in a pulpit telling us we have a purpose and a hope. And that he truly does love his children.
He loves you very much.
He loves you too.
Isn't that awesome?
Completely.
So what makes this year's Volunteer of the Year so special? Well, I have a very long list, but a short amount of time. This person has served the Lord, Evangel Home, and the women here for many years. This person has worn many hats, from board member to Bible study teacher and everything in between. It's because of her that board meetings will never be the same, and it's because of her that the women at Evangel Home continue to come to the saving knowledge of Christ and are encouraged to seek Him. She's a lot like the Energizer Bunny, always going, always on the go. It is with great pleasure that I introduce to you to the 2020 Volunteer of the Year, Helga Baker. A joyful heart, a quick smile, a word of encouragement, they can make such a difference in someone's life.
Oh, this is unbelievable. My heart is full. And family means so much to me, as you well know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we hope that she will continue to do so for years to come.
Joining us today, we have Maria and her daughter Ruthie. They've been with us almost 3 years. They started in the crisis home and then moved on to the Crossroads program, where she graduated and then went on to Community Connection. They're probably going to be leaving us pretty soon, but on to greater and bigger things. So what changed to make it like so unstable for a while? Like, what was happening in your life that made it so unstable?
It was mainly relationships. Whoever I allowed in my life to dictate, how I felt and whatnot. It would always separate me from what I was meant to be here for.
You probably have a lot of regrets too about how it hurt her and how it hurt with you.
Oh yeah. That's when the tears started rolling, because that's where my pain was at. My regrets. If I had to look back and I wanted to change things, I wanted to be a better mom. Just looking up, I just could remember everything. Things were just flashing back, and like, I don't want to give her that same perspective of me as she's now going to be an adult, like, I don't want that for her life.
Yeah. Like, when we would move a lot, I'd always be super understanding about it. She's like, I hope you know that we're moving and we have to, and blah, 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 because mom messed up, blah, blah. I'm like, I understand. We have to go. I understand.
I would always let her know that it was my fault. Of course, I would always tell her it was my fault, and that's why I would send her to my mom's, so that she didn't see and had to feel and had to do what I had to do, and try to stay afloat and get back on my own. Like, I was doing it on my own, not trying to do it on my faith or my hope or my prayers. I was just trying to do it all on my own, and I couldn't. I don't want her to be disappointed in me anymore.
You've given her a chance to not have to be that responsible person anymore.
Exactly.
There was a long time where she had to be responsible because you weren't being.
Yeah.
If I may say that.
No, really.
Yeah. And
it's real. Yeah, it was real.
Usually when we moved, it's because we had to, and we weren't ready to move. And since she was everywhere, I kind of had to be together to make sure that we were together, and so not everything was apart, because we needed some stability, at least a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was that.
And And that affected her because then she had to grow up and try to understand everything and just take it and just, hide your feelings and I did that to her. I did that to her.
And of course, we've been taking counseling, so that was pretty good. Because we did hit like a really, really rough patch, like, ooh.
So it was roommates. I had to drop you off at grandma's. Well, then I finished trying to find us stability.
Yeah.
Because we were still living not a good situation still. So I was like, okay, well, I want to call Evangel home. And within a week, I've never been somewhere like this ever in my life.
You guys were in a space of instability because there was a bunch of bad relationships that were happening, and it was just kind of a little bit chaotic. You came to Evangel home. You go to the crisis home. What made you decide to join the Crossroads program?
I finally saw the footprints I had left behind in my past, and just how I've been living my life. Just seeing her face, just seeing how she doesn't look up to me anymore. She didn't. Why am I here? And I just felt that was my time of reflection, of really to reflect, because I've just been with chaos after chaos and just trying to do things on my own. And I'm just like, you know what? Okay, I'm done fighting. I was just like, if I still have a chance, Lord, if you want me to be here, I'll do it. It's going to be hard. 9 months not working, just living off assistance and doing what I got to do. Man, I'll do it, God. It wasn't easy.
And it seems like now you're ready, because now you have a job and you're getting ready to move out, and you've saved up money and a lot of things just going, you're ready for those blessings and not to waste them.
Yes, sir.
You're yes, ready?
Yes.
So how about during your 9 months in the Crossroads program, what was that like? Before you graduated and went on to Community Connection?
It was life learning. Just learning about my boundaries, learning about anger, learning about self-control, learning about my personality, just learning a lot. Just trying to just absorb it. I was a sponge. I'll do it whatever you want me to do, because you know what? And the way I look at it is I'm doing it unto the Lord.
So what was it like when your mom was making all those changes? Was it weird, or what was it like?
It was really refreshing to see her making all these nice changes in her life to better us and better herself. And yeah, it was just it was a fresh breath of air. It was okay, so this is what we doing? This is what we doing now, okay? I was wondering, I was is it gonna be permanent though? Is it gonna stick? Is it just temporary? A lot of things were always changing.
Yeah.
So I was this is probably just, gonna change.
Right.
So I was kind of looking for the end of it. I was like, all right, when is it gonna happen? A little too good to be true, but we'll see where this goes. Went pretty well.
Yeah. You're it's still going well. Right?
Yeah.
So what would you two say to the people who, the supporters of this home? What would you want to say to them?
I mean, because I really wasn't looking for a program. I wasn't looking for help and stuff like that. But when I did reach out, I've never seen a place like this. I wouldn't be here right now. We wouldn't be in the position we are. Our relationships wouldn't be rebuilt the way they are. And it would have taken me a lot longer, because I've never had a support like this in my life. We wouldn't be breaking these chains from our history and from our family if it wasn't for Evangel Home. So I don't know where we'd be, but we wouldn't be here. I've been hoping that somebody would ask me, what do you think about Evangel Home? I cannot express.
Oh, no.
I cannot express in just one word or anything, or how can I be grateful? I can just live it.
Yeah. That is the best thank you ever, right? Living for Christ for the rest of your days. There would be nothing better.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Wow. We've been talking about it. There you see the stories. You see the lives unfold of women who come from chaos and distress and hopelessness to lives of hope and joy and a desire to go out and do good things for the community, yes, but for the kingdom of God, because of Evangel Home. God has chosen to use the ministry of Evangel Home in these women's lives. He's been doing it for a long time, and our prayer is he'll continue to do it for a long time. We appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to ask Sarah in just a minute to present this year's opportunity to make improvements at Evangel Home on a very, very practical and needy level. I want to remind you of one thing, just a quick reminder, that Evangel Home doesn't receive any public funds, no government subsidies. Nobody's giving anything financially to Evangel Home except people like you. And we rely on that. And so we just ask you to pray right while we're talking. Maybe God's going to ask you to pitch in and help out and donate to the ministry tonight. They donated last year.
Yes, they did.
Talk about the project last year and the results.
It was so overwhelming, the amount of support and love and just the project that we did. It was based on, last year was called the Butterfly Fund, and it was in honor of a woman named Lillian Holmes, who she thought just because you were homeless didn't mean that you couldn't have beautiful things. And so in honor of that, we wanted to create things that would make life easier and better and more lovely. And so clean clothes. We had new washers and dryers that are commercial, and they get done so much quicker in like half the time they used to, and they're cleaner than they were before. So it just feels so good when you've put on that fresh set of clothes and it's nice and clean. We also got rid of our old playground padding and are putting in a new fake lawn, but with all the padding required, and it's just great so that it's going to be safe and it's going to be durable. And then the other thing I thought was really neat is that last year there was a gentleman who just really, because there's a technology update, and that's something that he was passionate about. And instead of like donating money, he got other friends and used the resources that he had around him. And they've been giving us like new Wi-Fi and new computers and all sorts of new things that are still in process because it takes a while to get this stuff done. But it was just such a blessing because a lot of the ladies, they're going to need that because everything's going online now, like in order to do job applications and all those kind of things. And that's why the technology is so important, so that they have something good so that they feel confident. And so just because you may not have money, you might have the resources. I thought that was beautiful.
Yeah, one person can make a huge difference.
Yes.
I noticed in the tour, listening to Jessica's comment about one of the rooms in the shelter, about we try to bring safety and love into these women's lives.
Absolutely.
Safety and love. And that really is the basis for the project we want to present this year.
Yes.
It's so critical that the women are safe and that they feel safe. So tell us about this year's project.
Yeah, I think the safety, is one of the critical things, because when you don't feel safe, you're just in constant survival mode. So you think about nothing else, you get rid of everything except for what is the absolute necessity. And so for them to be able to feel like I'm in a safe environment and just like you can breathe, kind of like Ruthie was just saying, like it's a breath of fresh air. You're like, okay, this is what we're doing now. I think that's what she said,
Yeah.
And you start to grow and you start to learn, and that's where it really happens. But if you don't feel safe, then that doesn't happen. And so that's what we've been seeing is a lot more vandalism on our campus. People are sneaking in and wandering through the campus at night, and I'm like, that is just so scary to me to think that these women could.
They're at risk.
They are, and then like our back alley, it's just like completely trashed all the time, and there's a lot of drug use that happens, and this is what they're trying to get away from, is this life of drug use and all this kind of stuff. So that brings us to the project. We're hoping to, one, increase the lighting, because I love it in the Bible. It always talks about thieves walk in the darkness, but like when it's daylight or when there's light outside, it is not. So if we have more lighting to kind of make it in, people don't want to go in that as much. And so the lighting, and then we want to increase our cameras so that we can kind of know who's on the campus, who is there, what's going on. It'll alert us when somebody comes on campus so we can check it out, make sure it's somebody that's supposed to be there. And then the last one is building a fence across the back alley. We have a parking that kind of comes in there. For those of you who picked up your banquet in a bag today, you kind of came through there and kind of saw a little bit about what was going on in there. So two parts in this. So fencing, it'll allow us to go from, we have several properties right next to each other, so allow them to be connected so that people can walk back and forth a little bit more freely without having to go outside and do all that kind of stuff. And a potentially dangerous situation. We're going to get covered parking on one half, and then the other part, we want to extend the little daycare area and make it into like a little mini park. And I'm kind of really excited about this because nature to me is something that is just, that's where I relax. And so we're get a tree and get some lawn out there with a little bike path for the kids to go around it. So, the kids can be playing on the outside and the women can just sit there and have this place of serenity. And so this is what we're asking for your help for this time, is to the fencing and the security and the cameras and all of that. So.
Okay, so they can go to the website.
Yes.
Right? Is that how this happens?
Well, there's a couple different ways. So if you go to the website and where you clicked on earlier to come and join us this evening, if you click over the next tab over, it has our registry, because it's an anniversary, so we have a registry. I thought it would just be a fun way to be able to donate. And so it has pictures and all the different items and what we need and like the cost of each thing. And so you can add it to cart and it'll be sent straight to us, and the money goes straight to us. You're not, And so you have the add to cart, and then there's another way. If you just want to donate generally to the banquet, you can go to our website and click the donate button, and it'll take you straight to that page. You can click the banquet option, so we know like this is what we would like it to go for. We also really need ongoing donors, like people who will donate monthly. So there's an option on there for that. And the third thing is, for those of you who really don't like credit cards and computers, if you want to just send in us a check, it's 137 North Yosemite, Fresno, California, 93701. Write us a check and then just let us know what you want it to go towards.
Yeah, and if you missed that and you need to get more information over the phone, tomorrow give us a call. 559-264-4714. 559-264-4714. No phone trees. Somebody's going to answer the phone and talk to you. And isn't that helpful? I just want to mention a couple of things before we kind of wrap this up. I want to remind everybody that you can continue with your chat or asking questions with Kaylin. She's going to stay on even after the video shuts down. And also, there was something else I was going to say, and I don't remember what it was.
Well, I have something else to say.
Good, you say it.
I don't know if it's what you were thinking of, but I was just thinking, even all these projects that you just heard about, if you have, the gentleman last year with the technology update, if you have those resources, if you know how to pave, if you know how to fence, if you know how to do those kind of things, also give us a call and we'll get you connected with a volunteer coordinator. And is that what you were going to say?
Yes. I'm going to say that's what I was going to say. Not sure it was, but that'll work.
Okay.
We're so glad you're with us tonight. I'm going to close in prayer. But let me just say thank you. Without you guys, without folks like you,
thank you.
Those changed lives don't happen. And you make it possible. We just ask you to prayerfully consider where that might be something you continue to do, or maybe it's the first time. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's go to the throne of grace. Would you pray with me, please? We are reminded, Lord, great is the Lord. You are great, greatly to be praised. You are awesome. We are in awe. We thank you as we hear the testimonies of these women. You engage in transformation and redemption and change lives, who then can be a conduit to change other lives. And the discipleship changes a community, a family, a neighborhood. Thank you for doing that. I thank you for Sarah. I thank you for all the board members, the volunteers, the staff that you have brought to the ministry of Evangel Home, for their diligence, for their passion for laboring in a difficult field. I thank you for our friends who are watching this right now, and we just love you because you have loved us and do love us far beyond our ability to understand. We'll never get it. We look forward to seeing you face to face, and maybe we'll get a glimpse. But thank you, thank you, thank you. In all things, may Jesus be praised. Amen. Good night.